Welcome back to Central Coast Disc Golf. These are the final 9 holes from the 2023 Discrafts Cascade Challenge up in Shelton, Washington. It is a Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver Series event. I am your host, Nate Perkins, and I'm joined here with my good friend Connor O'Reilly. Connor, it has been a pleasure to watch these players play such a tight wooded course. What do you think?
Yeah, I've really been enjoying being here in the woods and watching the players play some more of that finesse game where short game matters and gap hitting is really the main priority. Conditions are calm today and the players are anything but. They're feeling the heat as everyone chasing this silver event title. We see 10 players within 4 strokes here as we head into the back 9. Truly anything can happen, you guys.
And for the first time all weekend, James Conrad is not leading the event. Ricky has just taken a 1-stroke lead. What do we have here on the 10th?
We have the kind of horseshoe hole here on the 10th, a mandatory off there on the right, keeping you off to the left, not really going to come into play. Backhand can play, but you really got to check up your distance and just put it somewhere in bounds. If you can get a little bit of drift to the right, that's a bonus. Forehand's going to be the predominant tee shot we see here. As we come in, we have this hazard bunker on the right and a pretty guarded gap here on the left that you're going to have to really get squeaky through the trees if you want to put this one close. Most players looking to give a good birdie chance on hole 10 though.
Really sets up well for just a stable fairway forehand. We kind of want to push that OB long, start to hyzer. Oh, so bad, it's good.
We get an oops out of Oakley, and yeah, that ends up in a great spot. Let's see if he can recreate the magic from round 2. Yeah, I think for the forehand, whether you want to go fairway driver or fast driver, as long as you come out with hyzer, you should be just fine. James bends that about as far right as you can with the putter backhand. Gonna be a good spot from there. So much more of a high level shot that James is throwing than these other guys. Obviously, they still have to hit the gap, and it is still a really good shot, but the backhand is just such a high degree of difficulty.
And, you know, don't tell James that, because when you do, he's like, well, it's higher difficulty for you.
For the players who don't throw it.
Yeah, he's like, for
good
me,
every
I
freaking
think
time.
it's crazy that you're throwing a forehand through that gap. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is very true. And Eric going with that Berg shot. The Bjorg looks like a freshie.
Yeah, just really unique disc, just a glideless brick. Oh, no way.
Is that in the hazard?
That's a fatal mistake, Connor. 2 days in a row now. He didn't really commit to the width there, and Nomad gets knocked down. Evan just buttering that up to the bullseye.
James really needs to get some kind of momentum back, and that would have been a really good chip back at it, but another bogey for Conrad.
And just like that, he's going to lose 2 strokes to the entire card.
James is really feeling a bit of that spiral right now. He needs to get it together and try to string a couple birdies together, because if he does, then he's right there with these guys.
All right, heading into hole 11. I think it's the signature hole on the property. Island hole in the woods. Just 285 feet. Slight draw from left to right. Only takes about 200 to find yourself safe on this little island. And they built up this nice little retaining wall. And of course there's a little log that kind of stops shots from sliding into the circle, at least. Ricky just going dagger here. Just going to start this out on Annie. Use the stability of the putter to get back to flat. And
That was like, that just shows you can, this one forces you to want to throw that ante, but it feels like he just played almost a dead straight line on that one.
Yeah, I feel like those fir trees on the right, like, really prevent people from hyzer flipping it, because I feel like it's easier to kind of pull it into those trees that are outside the island.
Yeah, absolutely. The hyzer release, unless you're playing understable, is really out of the question here. Evan, though, playing that hyzer understable shot, just a little early out of the hand. James understands this is a big moment for him. A little bit right, but hangs on, finds himself inside the circle.
Oh, I thought that was money, Connor, and now it's OB.
Yeah,
Whoa.
me too. This one comes up quick on you, and that wall is not as tall as you would like it to be when you're
No.
putting.
And Evan off the top of the basket, and James slips out. What the heck is happening?
Wow.
That was all so fast, too. I actually hadn't seen anybody putt OB yet this weekend, and Eric and Evan do it back-to-back putts.
Yeah, the 11th definitely showing it can be diabolical, and all of a sudden,
Ricky gonna pick up 2 strokes on Eric and Evan and just 1 on James, but James is all of a sudden 4 strokes back of Wysocki. That is not a good place to be.
He's having one of those days where it feels like there's a force field on the basket too, just so many different ways to barely miss it. As we step up to hole 12, we have a par 4 on the shorter side, just under 600 feet. Most players are going to take that right side gap that the drone just prescribed, looking to release the disc on hyzer and stand it up throughout the flight, whether you want to go putter, mid-range, fairway, or even some kind of straighter distance driver. You can pick your poison here off the tee, and if you are in the dead center, the approach is right there for you as long as you can beat, once again, this circle's edge down log. If not, then you're going to have to get a little bit crafty and shape something coming in. Keep going with the most aggressive line other than the crazy roller we saw.
Do you know what that Raptor Eye disc is he's throwing? Is that a Rive as well?
Yeah, I believe that's a Rive, and those Raptor Eye ones came out on the straighter side, so I think he likes getting the flex off of that. James has to ask Ricky to move there before he throws, and he is just a little bit out of sorts right now.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad of a shot, and he just finds that one little skinny tree right there, and it just pushes him left, and it's a really bad spot here on 12.
Eric cruises down the right side.
Whoa, he's way up there, and he's on the trail too.
That's best case scenario for Oakley, and
that's actually the first time I've seen that kind of flex line that Evan tried.
yeah, I only saw one fellow competitor try it all weekend on my cards, and it's there, but it's definitely a line you got to have a lot of trust to throw. James plays a incredible turnover. It doesn't look like it hits any trees. Evan gives himself an opportunity, and we've seen how long his range is all day. Oh, Ricky catches the one to beat.
Yeah, that was kind of stabling up, huh?
Wow.
Are you serious? Splits a 2-foot gap.
James just phases through the tree there.
Dang it.
You can just see the body language from Ricky. He can feel it. He can taste it. He's hungry right now.
Eric from outside circle 2. just in front. And Evan's been hot from circle 2. Can he continue?
Can't see the cage. Just finds his link and cashes out.
And that was so direct, too. From deep in circle 2. There we go. That's the longest putt we've seen James make today. Is it too late, Connor? Is 4 too much for James right now?
It's starting to feel like it a little bit, but as we've seen with this course, there's a couple of shots coming up. 14 is the hardest hole on the course so far. That can be a 2-stroke swing. And any of the other holes can steal at least a stroke. 18 has also been kind of a diabolical hole, but yeah, without Ricky taking worse, if Ricky has pars as mistakes, it's going to be really hard for James.
All right, we've got Matt Bell and Eagle McMahon. They're playing on the same card. I believe they're on the 4th card, and they are flying up the leaderboard. They're also just 2 back of Ricky, right there with Evan.
The Challenger is consistent not only on the putting green, but also throwing as an approach disc. With the Challenger, you're getting a really straight flight, whether it be 5 feet or 120 feet. You can just really spin it and trust that it's just gonna hold right where you aim.
All right, hole 13, 360-foot par 3. This one sets up really great for the right hand, forehand. You just want it to flatten out for just the briefest moment, fly over this little bush left of this fir tree right here. If you do throw the right hand backhand, you really want it to fly straight for 3/4 of the flight before it starts banking from left to right, which again is just such a high level shot. We've seen James throw the envy a few times.
Scott going to the forehand. Puts it out nice and flat. This one looks great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it even finishes right of the pin.
Yeah, definitely scared the basket a little bit there.
Ricky Orbit Felon. And he's following in Evan's footsteps there. And catches a tree, but that's right there at 22.
James. Full connection.
Rate the difficulty of that shot for us, Connor. What do you think?
I mean, if you have like a scale to 100 and, 100's like 100% of a great shot, I feel like James is throwing, when he throws a couple of these envy shots on these par 3s that are forehand friendly, we're talking 97, 98th percentile shots out here. These things are top tier.
I like that. Nice rating scale, man.
Thank you.
And Eric just juicing that forehand a little deep.
Yeah, tricky stance, not quite able to connect.
Ooh, high left, but that is in. We've got the low fist pump there. Ooh. I'm ready for him to run it in. Where are the raptor legs at, Connor?
I think we need a circle 2 for Ricky at this point. He's had so many highlights in his career. I don't know that we're getting the raptor legs on a circle 1 unless it's the final putt.
That's a really good point. Oh, Evan, that's a good view. How he kind of sets up with that old school DOS style, like resting Annie in the hand, but then he draws it down and just fires it in on Heiser.
Yeah, it's funny because we saw Paul Macbeth go to some of that last year at one point, and
Yeah.
I noticed Evan. I think Evan has always kind of done that, but I at the time I thought maybe Evan was kind of emulating that. But yeah, maybe Evan did see a little bit of that Dawson. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him. James makes good on an incredible tee shot. He's still feeling that pressure though as we step into the hardest hole on the track. Hole 14, 770 foot par 4. Pretty sizable gap off the tee here, but players are looking to really rev up, hit a high speed shot here, whether you're going fairway driver or fast driver. You just got to make sure you fade a little bit left, about 350 feet down or so, and then if you can make your way to this blue stake here or even beyond, then your chances at birdie are definitely palpable. Down the right side is the biggest airway if you are trying to come in from a long distance away, but if you get up super close, there are some straight gaps at this one.
Evan Scott just 2 back. Brings a lot of pace into that shot, and that is filleted, and it's on the left side. He's going to have that little tunnel into the green. Ricky going Rive here. A little early, Connor. That's not a good spot.
Not at all. It's going to take some of that scramble magic out of Ricky to save par here even. James sees an opportunity. Can he beat the back wall? Oh, gets past him. That is going to be about the best position you can see here. I feel like if you're throwing and finishing around the 400 to 425 foot mark, you got to be either right or left on this fairway. But if you can clear further than that, being dead center is just fine. And Eric hanging out with James up there.
Yeah, he really hit that discard, and he's got the caddy carrying the bag, and he was Bob, so he just kind of walked up the fairway.
Yeah, I feel like he's been doing quite a bit of that, and that's always fun to just see that confidence.
Oh, and Ricky going with the cut roller, and it kind of stands up and fades out on him.
Fans love it. I don't know that I do, but Ricky waved at him, so it's got to be all right.
Oh, man, I can't imagine that's in a good spot.
Some kind of progress, I guess, is better than none out here. Out here in the woods. James going to the envy. That shows how close he was, but oh my gosh, makes it onto the green. That is a big momentum shot here just when he needs it.
And with Ricky being off the fairway, he's going to have to get up and down to not lose 2 to James. Oh, Eric getting the last grouping there out at Circle 2's edge.
I love everybody's feeling for me. I love that.
Some of those guardian trees can be really frustrating, huh? You can hit the line 90% of the way and still not score.
It always feels like it's that tree to beat that gets you. And yeah, I guess Ricky knew he made enough progress. He would have some kind of option. Puts himself in Circle 1 to only lose a stroke to James, potentially. Evan trying to toss this one in, it looks like, but a little bit soft out of the hand.
He's had a really nice day on the putting green. Continues to just stripe that pole.
Oh, Ricky with that nose down, just dives it over the rim.
All right, 2 in a row. James picks one back up. Hope is still alive. He's just 3 back now with 4 to play.
Yeah, grabs a stroke back. That putt didn't look as sure as we normally see him from that range, but still gets the stroke.
Right, 15, short and technical here, just 310 feet. Series of early gaps. If you throw this dead straight, you kind of find yourself in like a pretty dense rough. You really have to either throw a little flex forehand here or something really understable on a hyzer that kind of flips up and drifts back to the right here, and just the slightest bit of rollaway potential behind and to the right of this pin. How's this one comparing, Connor? I feel like this is probably one of the easier holes on the course.
Ooh, James a little bit right there. And yeah, we're seeing hole 15 play as the 6th easiest hole on the course, so definitely in that top third, and
Great, bud.
a lot of birdies here. But another hole that can grab some bogeys too.
Evan Scott on the money.
Ricky with the shank job, but fortunate not to kick even further right off those trunks. Par save is going to be a bit easier from there than if he did. This tee box had a lot of large mosquitoes on it, so I think that's probably what's ailing Eric there as you see him swatted away with the disc. Yeah, he pulls this shot. Sounds like it fought through quite a bit, though.
Curious to see what Rick's lie looks like. Here it is, just enough room to jump putt up to the pin. Okay, so going to par.
Yeah, luckily he stayed on the edge of that rough, didn't make his way in there. Eric finds a gap, scrambles out of there nicely.
And that's a turkey for James, and he's just 2 back now.
James still kind of throwing some of those practice strokes, just wondering why it's taking him so long to find his rhythm out here.
And Evan is just 1 back with 3 to play.
Evan continuing to pressure quietly. He's been hanging out all weekend right up there in the top.
Yeah, kind of a career tournament for him so far.
Absolutely. I feel like he's had a couple good moments and rounds, but in terms of full tournaments and actually pressuring for the lead for quite a bit of time, this has got to be it for Evan. Definitely a course that you look at and suits his skill set very well. Hole 16, it's going to be one of the more difficult holes on the track in terms of the par 3s. At 350 feet, this gap really makes you feel pinched. And whether you want to go forehand or backhand, there's some different ways to get this one. You'll see the forehands usually push left of this cluster of trees that we see the drone flying to the right of here. The drone's kind of flying down where you'll see those late flipping backhands take. Also a third kind of bonus route, Spike Hyzer on the right for those players looking to cheat the course a little bit.
Yeah, we saw a couple successful shots thrown here on this coverage. James.
There's also been some kind of nightmare stories with that Hyzer line, so one of those
really?
risk reward. Yeah, Burr took a 6 here today. He told me he threw it about 2 feet on his second shot because he was just so thick in the bushes, and then only a few more feet on the next one. So
That is tragic. And James honestly hasn't really missed an envy shot so far on this coverage.
that yellow envy is doing its job. More like James is throwing it exactly where he means, and Evan with the bonus roll park job. This hole doesn't get parked often.
No, and that was some pretty sweet ground play that Evan had too, and he puts a ton of pressure on Rick. Rick takes that felon.
Rick asking for no tree hits, and he also nearly finds himself inside the bullseye.
And Rick is here for this title, Connor, with all the pressure on him.
He looks strong. Pars have been his mistakes so far today, and that's going to be one of the big keys on a wooded course like this. Eric walking that after it again, but just catches those final trees on the long side. We only saw 5% parked here On the 16th today, so shows how tough this par 3 really is at only 360 feet.
Man, Eric has had a series of kind of tougher putts. He's looking at his 5th par in a row. James with his 4th birdie in a row. He's kind of waking up late in the round.
Yeah, really knocking on that door and still definitely not out of it. Ricky obviously gonna have 2 strokes going into 17, a hole that these players are looking to score birdie on, but still are gonna have to earn.
Right, hole 17. They have a couple difficult gaps to still navigate. So even if you have a lead, you can't really just choose to play for par, can you, Connor?
No, yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard. You could maybe choose to like throw a touch putter shot up 200 feet and chip up, but there's enough stuff in your way. I think you're able to mess that up, and that would feel really bad going into the 18th. So
yeah, you really have to send this one. Gap is like 15 feet for most of the flight, and you want to fly over that little bush and inside this fir tree. Really specific straight shot here.
yeah, this one looks so straightforward, but it plays pretty nuanced.
Yeah, especially with this late bush right there. It really makes you have to get the disc a little higher as you fly through the gap. And that kind of leaves you like outside circle 2 if you hit that bush.
Yeah, it's definitely a long shot from that bush. Evan finds the long side of the green on that downslope, but that's going to be a great place to be. As long as you clear over that bush and don't hit a tree, it's usually good.
Right over the top of it. I mean, it didn't look good.
Yeah, he tickled quite a bit of it. And Ricky pulls over,
And
I believe on a trust here.
That kissed him right in front of Evan's disc. What?
Bit of a wild line from Ricky. It finds him maybe just there in circle 2, maybe circle 1.
That Pathfinder has just been gliding out for him.
Absolutely. He's crushing the disc today and finding himself with a lot of tough putts. After throwing the disc pretty true line-wise. Just needs to be less strong, Eric Oakley.
And James from 70 feet, and that is a really frustrating miss for him.
He knows he needs to birdie out in order to win, most likely. Chances slipping away from our one-time world champion.
And a huge miss there for Evan Scott, as Ricky is just a couple steps in front of him and 1 stroke in front of him. This to take 2 strokes into 18.
Strong putt out of Ricky. Nice and flat. Fires it in there. He's fired up.
He knows what that means. It's going to be hard for him to lose 2 on the final hole. Well, this has been a pretty memorable battle and memorable performance by that young man right there out of North Carolina. He's traveling with another Carolinian, Jake Mon.
Yeah, Evan and Scott or Evan and Jake are great kids and really enjoy playing with them and just chatting with them.
Yeah, they really love the game, don't they?
They really do. They're true grinders and they have so much time and so much more ability than they've shown the world. So excited to see them continue to make a name for themselves. And we've got a challenging 18th coming up. 700-foot par 4. Really got to push the disc straight off the tee. You don't want to fade too much until you hit that 400 mark or so, and then you're good to start clearing left a little bit. Couple ways to approach into the green. You'll see the finesse straight shot of the drones flying be thrown by players who really throw a great tee shot, but A lot of times it's just that wide hyzer that trying to filter through the trunks and the bushes that players will be taking into this wedding cake green.
And they actually had quite a bit of a backup. I don't know if you heard, Connor, but Anthony Barella had a lost disc on his second shot that he threw 100 feet in the air. They looked for some time, and then he actually had to rethrow.
Wow.
So they were stalled out here, and
yeah, it was a bit of a backup as is. At least one card most of the day, if not more. And in the woods, the pace of play can really differ from card to card. Unfortunate that Anthony had to take a lost disc, but some of this rough is thick out here. James puts himself in a spot to birdie.
couldn't quite see there. I think he got a tree on the right side of that fairway.
Oh, Eric just needed to fly right at that tree, and he probably finds himself in the prime landing zone. Evan looks like he was deep on the right side, trying to flex something up into the landing zone that you're aiming for off the tee. Eric, very vocal player. You'll know pretty instantaneously whether or not he likes his shot, and he loved that one, but like I said, you got to filter through quite a few trunks on that hyzer shot. And James's chances at winning are all but evaporated at this point.
Oh, man, and Evan needed to get up and down from right there to, I believe, stay in second place with Matt Bell jumping up with a 12 under par to 26. And Ricky was in the prime spot, wasn't he, Connor? Just chips that forehand up there. I believe he's throwing harp again.
Yeah, just rams that harp into the ground, plays the fast ground play, and checks it up for the W.
There was a point in time where Ricky just did not miss a harp, I feel like, for like 2 seasons. Like, he just didn't miss the shot.
Yeah, I was not playing / just found the game around that time, but I heard in years afterwards about those days. And Evan Scott, we'll hear about his putting for
What is that, 90
years to come.
To get second place?
All love from the card, and rightfully so. Evan is a bright young disc golfer with so much talent around the basket.
What a star. What a performance on the putting green.
Eric just doesn't quite connect on the lower body, upper body timing there, a little early. Back at the gallery.
Yeah, really good to see Eric perform today. He's had a great season, and it's good to see a full round of his on camera. And it makes sense why he's playing so well. I mean, he's throwing a lot of really confident shots, and he's ripping the disc.
Yeah, playing strong, firm shots, has that forehand, backhand combo, and he's been consistent with the putter all year. So Ricky Wysocki picking up his first win of the 2023 Disc Golf Pro Tour season, as he's been sidelined most of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the Discraft Cascade Challenge presented by Grip, your champion, Ricky Wysocki.
Full-size axe. What do you think of that trophy, Connor?
I hope he builds a sauna out of that thing so he can get his sauna ice bath combo going. We know how he loves that stuff, and such a cool trophy to take home. We saw him go bogey free, 11 down,
Wow.
1 off the hot round.
Yeah, set by Matt Bell. You also shot an 11 under par, Connor, and man, it's just so good to see Ricky back in action. It pains me as, you know, a fan of the game to see him have to sit out so long, and we got to chat with him for just a little bit. He said it was a dark place he had to go to, being, you know, #1 ranked player in the world, to not playing at all. He's back. He's healthy. And what a tournament it was. And yeah, congrats on the top 10 there, Connor. We see you T9 down there at the bottom of the screen. And guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Central Coast Disc Golf. These guys have been editing around the clock, sacrificing their sleep schedules to bring you this coverage for free. So just leave Rick a little love. Leave the Central Coast boys a little love in the comment section. Maybe subscribe to the channel. And we will see you in just a couple weeks in Missoula, Montana for Zootown. And from Connor O'Reilly and Nate Perkins, peace.